1,250,000,000. That's not a typo. That's Gen Z and millennials right now, sitting on more credit card debt than almost any generation in American history has carried at this age. Not mortgages, not student loans, just plastic. Just swipes. You didn't wake up one day and decide to owe 5 figures. Nobody does. It happens one tap at a time, one pay in 4 at a time, one treat yourself. You deserve it at a time. And by the time the number is big enough to scare you, it's already too late to feel it happening in real time. Here's the part nobody tells you. Debt doesn't arrive as a crisis. It arrives as convenience. It starts small. A coffee you didn't have cash for. A concert ticket split into 4 easy payments. A late night order you tapped through without checking your balance. Because checking your balance felt worse than not knowing. Each purchase on its own feels harmless. That's the design. Nobody builds an app that makes debt feel heavy. They build apps that make debt feel invisible. Your brain isn't built to register a tap the same way it registers cash leaving your hand. Studies on spending behavior have shown it for years. Pay with a card, and the pain center in your brain barely reacts. Pay with cash, and it flinches. Credit removes the flinch completely. So the same purchase that would make you hesitate with bills in your hand slides right through when it's just a number on a screen. That's the onset. Quiet, painless, completely normal feeling. Then comes the peak. You're not thinking about the debt anymore. You're thinking about the life it's buying you. The dinners out, the trip you needed, the wardrobe that keeps you feeling like you're keeping up. Social media doesn't help. You're not just spending against your own income anymore. You're spending against a version of life you're watching everyone else appear to live. Except you don't see their balances. You just see their highlight reel. And your brain fills in the rest with a lie. That they can afford it, so you probably can too. Minimum payments make it worse. That's the trick baked into the whole system. You owe $4,000, but the bill only asks for $85 a month. $85 feels manageable. $85 feels like nothing. So you pay it, and you feel responsible, like you're handling it. What they don't put in bold on the statement is that at 24% interest, that $4,000 could take you over 15 years to pay off if you only send the minimum. 15 years. For purchases you probably don't even remember making. That's the illusion. You feel in control while the number quietly grows underneath you. And here's the part that flips your stomach. Gen Z isn't drowning in debt because they're careless. They're drowning in debt because they're the first generation to come of age entirely inside a system engineered to remove friction from spending. Buy now, pay later services didn't exist for their parents at 18. One-tap checkout didn't exist. Influencers weren't paid to make debt-funded lifestyles look aspirational. Every generation before this one had to feel the weight of a purchase for at least a few seconds before it went through. This generation is the first to never feel that weight at all. Wages haven't kept up either. Rent eats a bigger share of income than it did for any previous generation at the same age. Groceries cost more. A degree that used to guarantee stability now comes with a loan attached to it before the first paycheck even arrives. So credit stops being a luxury and starts being a survival tool. Not for vacations, for rent gaps, for medical bills. For the month the paycheck didn't stretch far enough. The debt isn't just about wanting more. For a huge number of people, it's about the floor being lower than it used to be. Then the compound hits, the bill arrives, and it's bigger than you remember agreeing to. Interest has compounded quietly in the background, the way it's designed to. You make a payment and watch the balance barely move. That's when the panic sets in, not the sharp panic of an emergency, but the slow, grinding panic of realizing you might be paying for this decade, not this month. Credit scores drop. Loan applications get denied. The future you that was supposed to buy a house or start a business is now busy paying off a version of yourself that ordered too much, too fast, with money that was never really there. The psychological toll is its own kind of damage. People carrying heavy credit card debt report more anxiety, worse sleep, and constant background stress that doesn't show up as a single bad day. It shows up as a permanent hum underneath every day. You check your banking app less, not more, because looking feels like confirmation of something you already know. Avoidance becomes the coping mechanism, and avoidance is exactly what lets the balance keep growing untouched. Here's the twist nobody expects. The people carrying this debt are, on paper, working, employed, educated, doing everything they were told would prevent this. The old advice, get a degree, get a job, don't spend more than you make, was built for an economy that doesn't exist anymore. You can do everything right by 2005 standards and still end up underwater by 2025 standards because the rules changed and nobody rewrote the advice. This isn't a generation of people who forgot how to budget. It's a generation handed a financial system with the guardrails removed and the temptation dialed to maximum, then blamed for the crash. $1.25 trillion isn't a number about bad decisions. It's a number about design, about an economy where the cost of living outpaces the wage that's supposed to cover it, and credit quietly fills the gap until the gap becomes a hole too deep to climb out of with minimum payments alone. So if you're staring at a balance that feels bigger than it should, you're not broken, and you're not alone. You're standing in the same current, pulling on tens of millions of people your age, all of them convinced privately that they're the only one who let it get this bad. They're not. They just haven't said the number out loud yet, either.